Hello, hello, my friends. Another dedicated candle review for you today. We are going to be talking about Kringle Candle Life's a Beach. Now, this fragrance is part of their 3-wick collection that came out back in early April. This was part of 19 3-wicks that were offered. Some of these I think are suspected to be repackages of old country candle favorites. Overall, you guys, my general experience, well, I'll save that for the end of this video with these candles, but I have some thoughts about this collection. But this is the 5th out of 6 candles that I purchased in that launch that I am going to review for you. So I figure we are into early June. I know that it is not quote unquote officially summer yet, but it definitely feels like summer where I live. My kids are out of school. I am definitely ready for all things summer. So let's go ahead and talk about this candle. Now, before I dive into this review, you guys, I do want to apologize for any background noise that might be going on. I am having to film this outside as my family is all home, and we've got my husband working on some kind of project over in his shop, and he's running a piece of machinery that is quite frankly a little bit annoying in the background. But again, I've got to get this review filmed, so I'm sorry if that annoys you. I hope my microphone is cutting it out a bit. Okay, you guys, so Life's a Beach. This is a 3-wick 100% soy wax candle. It is colored soy wax. This is about 14 ounces. So again, this is about the same size as your standard Bath and Body Works, Goose Creek, as well as the same size as their current painted jars. Fragrance notes listed on Life's a Beach are tonka bean, amber, jasmine, and sandalwood. I believe the pour date on this candle is March 13th, 2025. So let's go ahead and talk about this one. This to me is one of those musky sunscreen type of fragrances. That's just if you're looking for a basic category of an idea of what this fragrance is going to smell like, that's what it falls into. If you like fragrances like Yankee Candles, I believe it's Sun and Sand, the new Sunlit Glow from Bath and Body Works, or their Bronzed Sunset, it's in that vein. Now, I will tell you guys, my nose definitely picks up that sandalwood note in the base. And here's the funny thing, you guys. Y'all know I'm a Kringle ambassador. I did not get this in PR. I did want to make that known. I will always disclose that at the very beginning of a review in case you're new to my channel. If a candle or any product has been sent to me in PR, I will always disclose that, usually within the first 30 seconds of a video. But I did purchase this candle, so wanted to let that be known. But that being said, you guys, I don't always love the way that Kringle does sandalwood. I would say that my favorite take on sandalwood is usually Harry Slatkin's take on it. Bath and Body Works actually, I think, does a good job with sandalwood as well. But I think in this fragrance, something is not hitting my nose right. It's very similar to how I felt about the new Sunlit Glow from Bath and Body Works. Something about this fragrance is a little bit too musky for my nose. I have a feeling it is the amber mixed with the jasmine in here that my nose is just not really loving. And again, I'm not always a big fan of how Kringle does sandalwood. A couple of their fragrances, I feel like it's done well, but again, this blend for me, it's coming across a little bit too musky coconut for me. Now, that being said, you guys, to give you guys some comparison of like what type of sunscreen fragrances I do like, I would say my favorite one so far has been Country Candle had a limited edition back in January of 2024 called Sunset Sands. And I really, really enjoyed that fragrance. And then following up a couple of months later in the Country Candle lineup for the spring summer 2024, Country Candle, which I think this fragrance is possibly still available on the website. They have Sand and Santal, and that one I actually really, really like. And so it's kind of a funny thing to say that I don't always like sandalwood, because Santal is like a derivative of sandalwood, and I like that take on it. So I was trying to figure out, like, okay, why do I like the Country Candle version, but I'm not really a big fan of this one. And I do think that it is probably that jasmine note mixed in here. It's a little bit of floralness. It's almost like a powdery kind of note that I'm just not really loving as much. But that being said, I would say that this fragrance is very, very, very similar to Yankee Candle's Sun and Sand. So if you happen to like that fragrance, if you like fragrances, again, like Sunlit Glow from Bath and Body Works, if you're you're shopping on the Kringle website and you're looking for like another fragrance to throw into that 3 for 33 bundle deal, I would say then go ahead and get this one. But for me, I can be just a little bit picky with those type of sunscreen fragrances. And so therefore, I actually see myself passing this candle along to a good friend of mine because I know that she'll really enjoy this fragrance. But for me, I still have my Sunset Sands and the Sand and Santal, and I think that I'm just going to stick to probably burning that combo. Let's go ahead and talk about the performance of this candle. Now, I'm going to have to turn this around really delicately because I am filming this review outside. I actually lit this candle up outside because I don't really love the fragrance of it. Okay, so you can see I've got a nice clean burn on it, very deep wax pool. Now, I have had this candle burning for about 2.5 hours. I honestly started burning it out here to get it ready for the review, and then I got a little bit distracted with some things going on inside of the house. And so it is currently 95 degrees outside, so you can see why the wax pool like got deep pretty quickly. Normally when I burn it in the house for 2.5 hours, it is not this deep of a wax pool. I would say it would probably be to about right here. That being said, you can see we've got good healthy flames going on, no soot being produced. You could trim the wicks on these if you wanted to, but I'm not having any wick issues at all with this candle. Now, one of the things I did mention in my empties video last week was that the Kringle 3 wicks, sometimes the only thing you want to do is keep an eye on them as you start to approach the latter half of the candle's life, because sometimes these 3 wicks, they are notorious for the wick clips detaching. And I did have that happen with my vacay candle when I was about, I would say 2/3 of the way down of the burn on it. So, but so far, you guys, nice clean burn, not having any issues with the wicks or anything like that. Strength and throw on this candle, I'm going to give it about a 7, 7.5, I would say. It definitely projects quite well throughout my open concept living room and kitchen. Again, it's a fragrance that I don't particularly love. Again, there's something that's just comes across a little bit off to my nose that it just doesn't love. So this one for me though, it is definitely noticeable in an open concept. It's a little bit too strong for me personally in the bedroom, but if you have a larger bedroom, and again, if you like that type of fragrance, then I think you're going to be very, very pleased with it. But overall, you guys, this fragrance just isn't for me, which is kind of surprising because again, I do tend to like sunscreen scents, but I've just come to the conclusion that I can be very, very picky about my sunscreen scents. So burn performance in terms of the strength and throw, the wicks, all of that stuff definitely gets a thumb up from me, but the fragrance itself, not for me. And that is okay. So let me know in the comment box down below what your experience is with this candle. Do you agree that this is in that like sunscreeny type of fragrance family? Feel free to just comment what your experience has been. Like I said, this candle is on the Kringle website. And here are my thoughts, you guys. Now that I have reviewed 5 out of the 6 fragrances that I purchased back in early April, the 6th fragrance I believe is Mystic Trail, and that is more of a fall fragrance. I could see myself probably getting around to burning that one, maybe late July, early August, but it's too soon for me to be burning that right now. But here's the thing that I am going to say. My experience so far with all of these candles is that I feel like this product line is a great way for people who are new to Kringle. Maybe they are wanting to start burning soy wax candles. Maybe they're not yet ready to dip their toe into spending $31 or $34 on a candle, which honestly, you guys, those of us who are the Kringle faithful, we know you don't have to do that. We know that you wait for amazing sales like the ones they just had at Mother's Day or Memorial Day, when they have the candles for 50% off or whatnot. That's a great deal. But for those who maybe like just are wanting to order when things are not on sale, I feel like this is a great entry point for people to kind of get a feel for the brand. I feel like these fragrances are not as conceptual or as complicated or complex as some of the other fragrances in the standard Kringle lineup. I feel like these are more like quote unquote crowd pleasing type of fragrances. So yeah, I feel like they definitely serve a purpose. And again, at that bundle price of $3 for $33. You're paying $11 for each candle. That's a pretty good price. That's almost less expensive than, walking into a Bath and Body Works. So those are my thoughts on it. I still stand by, so far the strongest candle that I purchased out of those 6 was Grandma's Lemonade. It's very, very similar to the limoncello candle from Bath and Body Works. That one was the strongest. Pistachio Crema was probably the second strongest, but that leaned a little bit more body care for me than Gourmand. And then the rest of them, this one I would say is probably third in terms of the strength and throw. This one's pretty decent in terms of strength and throw. Like I said, it's too strong for me in a bedroom. And then what were the other ones that I did? It was Melon Medley and Vacay. I feel like they would probably be tied in terms, those were both more like medium strength and throw, performed better in a closed concept room. So those are my thoughts so far on these 3-wick candles. Do I see myself purchasing more of them? Probably not. I mean, I tried them out, but again, my focus tends to be on more of the conceptual fragrances from Kringle because I think that that's an area that they excel in. So those are my thoughts, you guys. If you are shopping on the Kringle website, I do have a discount code with them. It is Katie15. It should save you 15% off of full priced items because they are, unless you're in Massachusetts, because they are more so an e-commerce based site. Sometimes, when you're purchasing from them, you want to save money on shipping because it's $7.99 shipping. So if you're ever doing one big order and you've got some items in there, maybe some reserves or 4 wicks that are not on sale, you can always use my discount code to save an additional 15%. It is an affiliate code eligible for commission. Always like to put that in there. So please only use that if you are comfortable. But anyways, you guys, please hit thumbs up if you enjoyed this review. Consider subscribing to my channel if you are new. I do want to say thank you so very, very much for spending your time here with me today. And until my next one, I hope you all go out and have a very blessed day. Bye.